here is because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. And this morning, as we get into an interesting conversation, we are speaking about all things water supply here on the island of Tobago. And I have the privilege of chatting online this morning with the Minister of Public Utilities, the Honourable Marvin Gonzales. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Tobago.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, and good morning to Tobago as well as Trinidad. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity to have a chat and to discuss the issue of water for the people of Tobago.
Excellent. And now a lot of work is being done in Tobago on WASA's front. Last year, we had one of the tougher years here in Tobago when it comes to water supply, specifically with the drought that took place in a number of the water treatment sites. We heard from the head of WASA, Mr. Brian Williams, when he spoke about there being at an all-time low when you look at the history. However, the work that is being done currently, we saw you were in Tobago last week. You guys had that sun turning up at Goldsboro. How much closer does that bring Tobago to having, let's say, a first world status of water supply?
Much closer. It's a work in progress, and it's a work that started 3 years ago, where we did a number of work on the infrastructure on the infrastructure front to upgrade Tobago's water supply systems. What we discovered a couple of years ago was that because of lack of investment over the years, it was difficult for WASA's current infrastructure to meet the demands on the island, especially given the amount of development that took place, expanding housing infrastructure, the number of guest houses that were being constructed in Southwest Tobago. And in East Tobago, we also have the issue throughout, not only in Tobago, but in Trinidad, the issue of unregulated development, where people construct their homes outside of the utility distribution grid or outside of areas that have been approved for development. It's always a challenge to supply those developments with a reliable supply of water and or electricity. They go hand in hand. So when we talk about first world status with respect to the supply of water or electricity, we also have to take into consideration that here in the Caribbean, we have a very serious issue of unregulated development. And as long as we continue to grapple with that issue, we will always have the challenge of some of these communities not having access to water until you get the necessary financial resources to be able to expand the grid so that those communities can get water. But that aside, let me say that we have spent a lot of money to improve the water supply in Tobago. And you would have seen over the years new booster stations being constructed, and I will go into the details of some of them, the desilting of the Hillsborough Dam, the drilling of wells, etc. And all of these projects were designed to improve the supply of water, especially to communities that are unserved and underserved. So far, I had made a prediction that by the end of 2024, at least 75% of Tobago will have at least 24/3 supply of water. And on the way to the Goldsboro South turning, I was told that we did not only meet, but we surpassed that prediction. It's over 80%, between 50 or 60 something thousand people in communities all over Tobago getting a 24/3 and above supply of water. And in many instances, many of those communities are now getting a 24/7 level of service. So the Goldsboro water treatment plant is a continuation of the work that we plan to do so that all across Trinidad, all across Tobago, in East Tobago particularly, where we have some unique challenges there, those communities will start seeing an improvement in their supply of water because the infrastructure that was laid down. The plants that were constructed 25, 30 years ago can no longer meet the growing demands in those communities. And that's the reason why we have to
Ex-
continue to build new infrastructure. Thank you.
Excellent. And now this project is funded by a loan that was provided by IDB and
Correct.
being facilitated by, I believe it's NIPDEC.
Yeah, NIPDEC
Correct.
is a part. NIPDEC was the procurement agency used by Ministry of Public Utilities and WASA to obtain a contractor for the project as well as design and supervisory consultants.
Excellent. So they had oversight over the implementation over of this
Oh yeah.
project.
So
So
NIPDEC's role is very critical. They have hired the design consultants who will supervise all aspects of the project to ensure that the plant is constructed as per the approved designs.
was there any aspect of the planning process for this Goldsboro water treatment plant that included some level of consultation and conversation with Tobagonians, as well as the THA, to ensure that the goals that we achieve from this project is all encompassing and it also aligns with the overall goals of the THA for Tobago's public utilities development?
That's a very good question because when we submitted the concept to the IDB that we planned and we wanted to construct a new plant in Tobago, in Goldsboro, the first thing before it is approved by the IDB, the first thing that we needed to do was to engage the community, the farmers, the residents, and what have you. And we had two consultations there. I think it was in 2023 with the community to let them know of the plans to construct a water treatment plant at that Goldsboro site. So it was one of the fundamental requirements of the IADB before they approved the funding for the construction of that plant. Once that was approved and the IADB was satisfied of the level of public consultation with the residents, then we started our discussions with the THA. I led a team of professionals from WASA, and we met with the chief secretary, Mr. Fali Augustine, and we told him of the plans. And he immediately, I must say, he immediately gave the support and gave the undertaking that he would do whatever it takes for WASA and the Ministry of Public Utilities to construct that plant. The main issue when we met was the land tenureship because the land is vested in the THA, and the IDB had required the THA to agree to the transfer of the land to the Water and Sewage Authority for the construction of that plant. And Mr. Augustine, the chief secretary, was able to do that in record time. I recall it took literally about 2 to 3 weeks for him to give the lease or the license, which was the legal requirement of the IDB. And in 2 to 3 weeks after my visit with him, that license was available. And we ticked a very important box as the IDB had required for us to get the funding for the loan. Then it went into the construction phase, not the construction, I'm sorry, the procurement phase. And once a contractor was selected, then we needed to go back into the community. I recall having this meeting, I think it was at the Pembroke Community Center, where we had a long meeting there, an evening with the residents. The Deputy Chief Secretary also was in attendance. We met with the various village councils, the Member of Parliament, my colleague Ayanna Webster Roy. A number of residents came out. I think they actually packed the Pembroke Community Center. And there again, we went through the process of consulting with them, the THA, all the stakeholders, the environmental agency as well. We discussed the need for local employment, getting the community engaged throughout the construction phase. So it was a very long and robust period of consultation at the various levels before we reached the point of turning the sod to start the construction of the project.
Excellent. And when it comes to that level of collaboration, how important is that for you and for the ministry moving forward to ensure that despite everything that is published in the media or said, that the true work that is being done behind the scene is in the best interest of all Tobagonians?
We don't make joke with consultation. It is very important. The One of the things that we have learned in our recent interactions with the IDB is the need for us to always engage the communities all across the country on projects that stand and would benefit them and would advance their interests. So, almost every project that we do, especially under the IDB program, there is a long period of consultation before tendering, consultation after the tender process, consultation before the start of construction is very important because you don't want to have a situation where people are seeing and or hearing of a project in their community and they don't know, they are not aware as to how that project is going to improve their lives, the opportunities that are available to them in during the life of this project. So it is very important. And once you engage the community, it redounds to the best interest of the project. You find yourself having a more seamless execution of the project because you get the support of the stakeholders, you get the support of the communities. So I can tell you, not only in Tobago, but all over Trinidad, where we engage in these projects, be it the laying of a pipeline or the construction of a booster, the construction of a new water treatment plant. Public consultation and public engagement is very, very critical because once you have the support of the public, you are almost assured of a seamless implementation of the project. So I support it wholeheartedly. It is what happened at the sword tuning ceremony. It was just unfortunate that the speaker representing the THA did not acknowledge the amount of consultation that was done because the THA was part of the consultation, especially the one that we had at the Pembroke Community Center. The Deputy Chief Secretary was there and she also made contribution. She was there when we met with the Chief Secretary. When I met with the Chief Secretary with a team at the Water and Sewage Authority, where the entire project was discussed. When WASA had consultations with the farmers, the THA was also involved. So consultations always take place, but it is wrong when one gives the impression that it is only on this unique occasion we happen to be part of it. That was just not true. And I thought it was my responsibility to set the record straight on this particular matter, because if you don't, then people are left with the impression that we are not having the requisite amount of consultation and people are being bypassed, etc., etc. And that's the reason why I had to set the record straight and let the people of Tobago as well as Trinidad understand that what we are doing here in collaboration is what we do all over Trinidad and Tobago, and our experience as well in the Ministry of Public Utilities. We always consult. I think what was
Understood.
happening on this occasion was that some persons complain that they are not invited to certain ceremonies and what have you. And I just thought that the discussion had gone too far on this particular matter, and I needed to set the record straight.
Understood. But when we look at Charlottesville for a long time has had difficulty with their water supply. Now, because of how far away they are and how high up they are, we have that
Yeah.
issue with getting them that proper water supply, as well as the proper water pressure that is needed to sustain many households. Now, there have been suggestions of having that silting plant project in Charlottesville to facilitate increased water supply on that end of the island. But what other ideas have come forward that we can possibly see being implemented in the future? Let's say, for instance, if this one does not work, because there are a number of environmentalists who have come forward to, oppose or ask questions regarding that whole silting process that could possibly take place in Charlottesville.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I tell you this: there's a part in Charlottesville where, unlike the Goldsboro area or West Tobago, where we have a number of opportunities available for increasing the production of water to meet the growing demands. Unfortunately, in Charlottesville, Tobago, we don't have there a prolific river that can be a sustainable source of water for the people of Charlottesville. The wells that we have, the underground wells and the aquifer, is one that drops considerably, especially in dry conditions. And the wells do not produce the volume of water to meet the growing demands. So there are two critical things that you need to take into consideration. The opportunities to drill for a groundwater, freshwater well in Charlottesville, it is almost non-existent. And the river sources, which is a surface water source, we don't have opportunities for a sustainable production of water to meet the growing demand. So the option that is available, the only available option that might be feasible, is the construction of a reverse osmosis plant. In other words, a small desalination package plant. I spoke about it the day after I left Tobago on TTT, and it was something that I did not elaborate on at the sword tuning because I didn't want to detract too much from the event. But I can say now that the idea of a reverse osmosis or desalination, small desalination package plant for Charlottesville, Tobago, to meet the demand of the communities there, is one that is on the table, that is also receiving active consideration by the Ministry of Public Utilities. We're looking at a plant that can, in the first instance, supply or produce 500,000 gallons of water per day. And it's a modular plant where it starts at 500,000 gallons of water per day. And in the months after, we're looking to hopefully increase the production of water to about 1 million gallons of water per day. That's desalination water. And we believe that's the only sustainable and reliable option that is available to the people of Charlottesville to meet the growing demands. A number of homes and a number of structures are on elevated points, and and that has caused tremendous difficulty for the authority to provide the people there with a reliable supply of water. So plans are already in train, and I plan to meet the chief secretary in a month or two to discuss how we can have collaboration between central government and the THA to fund this particular project. And I am very excited about it. It will be one of the only small desalination plant owned by the Water and Sewage Authority in Tobago as well as in Trinidad. And once it is done, once it is completed, the people of Charlottesville will have access to a reliable supply of water. It is still in the planning phase. We are looking at cost. We are talking to some of our international and regional counterparts. We are planning the project. And once we have all of the requisite information where we can engage the THA in discussions, we will determine how we are going to collaborate to fund the project moving forward. But that is one of the active things that we are looking at this point in time because of the absence of a reliable surface source of water as well as a groundwater source.
Thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, we have to round up this morning's discussion. Is there anything that you want to say to the people of Tobago when it comes to looking forward to improve water supply? Specifically, in that you indicated that the Goldsboro water treatment plant has a reach that comes far down Tobago West. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I want to tell the people of Tobago that all of the projects that we have done all around the country, the story of the successes in Tobago is one that all of us should be proud of. I recall a couple or 3 years ago, I spent Easter weekend mobilizing trucks from Trinidad to send to Tobago so that your tourism industry will not be shut down because of the lack of water in southwest Tobago. When we started commissioning a number of these projects in the years ahead, that's after 3 years ago, we started experiencing and seeing a gradual turnaround of that water supply system and challenges in Tobago, the booster stations, the transmission lines that we constructed from Signal Hill to Apex Building that will add a certain level of resilience, the wells that we drill in Bad Hill, the desilting of the Hillsborough Dam, the number of booster stations that we constructed. Now we have the Goldsboro Water Treatment Plant, which will be the biggest plant on the island of Tobago, producing 2 million gallons of water, not only to supply the needs of today, but will literally guarantee you certain water security for the next 10 years once it is protected. The island's water supply situation has improved tremendously, and I am looking forward to the continuation of the improvement in the supply of water, especially in that Charlottesville area, because it remains that only area where we will have to grapple with for the next couple months until we get that desalination, that small desalination package plant. But once we complete that, all over Trinidad, all over Tobago, all communities that were unserved and underserved will have access to a reliable supply, as over 50,000 people on the island of Tobago are already experiencing. I have seen people cry. I have seen people, jump for joy over the last year when we commissioned those booster stations, when they started getting a reliable supply of water. I have spoken to the hoteliers in southwest Tobago who attest to the improvement in their supply. I don't hear of guest houses having to close down because of lack of water. These things are things of the past, but we continue to drive the work. We continue to do the work because it will always be a work in progress. And I look forward to continuing my collaboration with the members of Parliament and with the THA to ensure that we not only have a better supply today, but our water security is assured for the next 25 or 30 years.
Thank you so much, Minister, the Honourable Marvin Gonzales. We want to thank you again for giving us your time here this morning at Tobago Updates. And we look forward to hearing more updates from you in the future as your projects in Tobago continue. And we wish continued support. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast